Hello, my name is Irina Richko, and you are watching Progressive Behavior. This is a new YouTube show in which I will post episodes every week discussing some of the secrets of the science of behavior analysis and specifically how it is used nowadays by large corporations and other industry in order to influence human behavior. Let's get started. I wanted to start the episode by just simply letting you know who I am. I believe of myself to be just a little bit of an expert on human behavior because I have a master's degree in professional behavior analysis. And also, I've been practicing behavior analysis for almost 9 years now. The way that I practice behavior analysis from the outside seems quite innocent. Basically, what I've been doing is I have been implementing behavioral interventions, and those behavioral interventions I would then teach other people who are around a client, and the client is usually somebody with some kind of disability. And after I teach everybody how to implement a behavior intervention, we will actually implement it and we will change a human behavior. Usually, the behavior that people want to change would be something like trying to get rid of a person's aggressive behavior or trying to teach them a new skill, maybe reading or writing. So you can see how, in this sense, behavior analysis is really, really great. It's a fantastic tool that has been developed by scientists over the last 100 years. And now it's been, I would say, close to perfected, where it is almost guaranteed, as long as we have control over the environment, that our interventions will be successful. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I want to talk about is how does human behavior and the science of it are right now being exploited. And believe me, they are absolutely being exploited. Your behavior, my behavior, are constantly being targeted by other entities and other people who are interested in us behaving in a certain way. One example that I want to give you today is that how the discovery of this, of the fact that you can influence and change human behavior, what effect, how did it bloom into basically almost a global power? In very short, I'll explain that in about 1920s, 1930s, there was a scientist, and about this we learned in my graduate school. And what the scientist did, his name was Watson. He was doing experiments, and I'm sure you guys have heard of the baby with the rat experiment, when he was trying to basically condition fear. At first, baby wasn't scared of the rat, but when he paired the rat and the loud sound, the baby started crying. And then without the loud sound, just the rat itself evoked basically fear in the baby. So that's what he's famous for. What people don't really know about, and what I also found out only, just a few years ago in my graduate school, is that there was a scandal that happened in Watson's life. Watson had an affair with his lab assistant. And because of that, he was kicked out of his scientific, community. And nobody wanted to work with him any longer, at least in the experimental science of human behavior. So I would just imagine, of course I was not there, that Watson was pretty upset that his personal behavior and what he was doing with his lab assistant actually had a huge effect on his career. So he made a very interesting decision. He went ahead and took all of his research and all of his knowledge about how to condition responses in human beings, and he basically sold it out to the advertisement industry. This happens in the early 1900s. And what specifically he invented, what people also don't know, is that Watson created a testimonial advertisement. What does this mean, testimonial advertisement? As you can see, we all have seen the as seen on TV ads. And why are those ads different from, let's say, just having a picture of a product on a billboard? Well, because in those, when you watch that commercial, you're actually observing people engaging with the product, and they are faking that the product is reinforcing. They're pretending that this is the best product. And Watson knew that when a human body observes another body being reinforced for some behavior, whether it be purchasing some kind of cool mop, or whether it be, getting a new hair plug or getting plastic surgery, as long as a person can observe that another person received reinforcement for engaging in that purchasing behavior, the chances of them engaging, and especially if it fits their motivations, if they're also suffering from some body image issue, then it makes them so much more likely that they will engage in that purchasing behavior. And as you can see, the industry really took off with that science. This is why the advertisement on television is extremely expensive. If it did not work, it would not be for sale. And if it did not work, it would not be worth so much money to place an ad, especially during a program that television company knows a lot of people are watching. So when they're playing ads on TV and when you're watching them, what's actually happening is that your body is being subjected to a behavioral intervention that was very precisely designed by somebody who has knowledge about human behavior and specifically science of behaviorism. It is so unethical to do this. As I teach us in graduate school, you cannot implement behavioral interventions on a person without their first consent. Otherwise, you can literally lose your certification, your career, and everything. However, by creating a new label, we can all of a sudden say, well, we're not doing science. That's just, common sense. You show a picture to a person, and it's more likely that they're going to, engage in the behavior of getting that product or anything like that. But as you yourself right now, as you're listening, I guarantee you that the thoughts, which are the thoughts that I had as well, is like that there's no way that commercials have a direct impact on my behavior. I'm in control of my body. I decide what I buy. But the truth is, that is absolutely not so. Everything that you decide is made out of thoughts. And all the thoughts that you think are made out of words. And words isn't something that you create yourself. Words are something that you learn from people that surround you since birth. If you're born without people talking around you, you will never be able to talk. Humans just don't create language spontaneously. They simply copy it, the speech. Maybe some communication, maybe pointing, that can be spontaneous, but speech itself is not spontaneous and it has to be learned from other people. Now think about it. Depending on where you are born and what is the environment, what kind of people, what is the language, the customs, the policies in the place that you are born. All of that decides who you are going to be. All of that decides what behaviors you are more likely or less likely to engage in. Now, the people at the top, they absolutely know this. And this has been also labeled as, propaganda. It's the same thing. It is exposing humans to a stimuli that they would not naturally encounter in their everyday environment, right? It's not like I'm walking down the street and all of a sudden the tree drops a leaf and on it says, buy this window cleaner. It's fantastic. That just doesn't happen, you see? All those advertisements are specifically designed by human beings with only one goal, to make other human beings engage in behaviors. And what behaviors do they want us to engage in? They want us to labor, and they want us to engage in purchasing behavior. Now, depending on what country you're living in, the people who are controlling your environment, people who are writing the policies, are basically deciding what the priorities are. And if the priorities are that you need to spend and you need to engage in purchasing, everything is going to be made for you to increase your purchasing behavior. everything that they show, everything they talk about, you will see people who engage in promoting of personal behaviors being taken to the top, right? We all can think of stars who make money by becoming a spokesperson. Well, they don't understand what they're doing. They don't understand that they're being used in order to implement behavioral interventions. They do in some point. They understand what they're doing is in order for a company to sell more product, but they just don't understand exactly how it's influencing people, young people, people who perhaps don't have the money to engage in that purchasing behavior. In turn, will make them sad. A behavior of, sad responses can occur. You can become depressed. All of these horrible things can happen as a side effect. And another one is purchasing behavior. I apologize, the laboring behavior that I've mentioned before. Everything is promoted, and if people on top need you to work, and their lifestyle and their welfare depends on how hard you work, and their expectations of welfare are very different from yours, right? So everything is going to be designed in order to make you work and to make you purchase things. And that is exactly how we end up with where we are here, 2018. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave me a comment. This is my first video. I hope you guys like it. There's more videos to come. I will cover different topics. We'll talk about sexual behavior. We'll talk about, murdering behavior, war. We'll talk about different industry like cosmetics industry, and how they use the science of human behavior unethically, inappropriately, and that is overall harming human beings on this planet. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Enjoy your day. Behave progressively.